Russia batters Ukrainian frontline targets with a fresh barrage of missiles and drones as fighting intensifies across the battlefield. Putin unleashes a new wave of long-range strikes while Russian forces continue pressing forward on multiple fronts. Russian missiles pound Ukrainian military infrastructure as Moscow escalates pressure in another brutal phase of the war. Kyiv's defense plants, ports and armed forces positions come under heavy attack in a large-scale Russian assault. Russia launched overnight ballistic missile strikes against Kyiv on the night of July 15th to 16th as air raid alerts spread across Ukraine. Ukraine's Air Force said at least 8 ballistic missiles were detected heading toward the capital during the early hours of July 16th. Explosions were heard across Kyiv as officials said Russia combined ballistic missile strikes with waves of attack drones. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said the attacks damaged warehouses and several non-residential buildings across the city. Air raid warnings were also issued in Kharkiv, Vinnytsia, and several other regions as Russian drones crossed Ukrainian airspace. Meanwhile, Donetsk People's Republic head Denis Pushilin told TASS that Russian forces were continuing to advance toward Slavyansk. Separately, Russian-appointed officials said a Ukrainian drone strike triggered a total power blackout in Crimea's city of Kerch. Crimean energy authorities said emergency repair crews were deployed immediately while backup power systems were activated. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces said they had struck the Balaklava Thermal Power Plant in Russian-controlled Crimea. Kyiv said the operation targeted critical power infrastructure supporting Russian military operations on the peninsula. Ukrainian officials claimed the strike damaged key equipment and warned that repairs could take several months to complete. Commander Magyar also said Ukraine had expanded its maritime drone campaign deeper into the Black Sea. He claimed Ukrainian naval drones struck 20 Russian vessels, including several oil tankers supporting Russian logistics. Ukrainian officials said the campaign is intended to disrupt Russia's military supply network and maritime logistics. Magyar further claimed Ukrainian forces shot down a Russian Mi-28 attack helicopter on July 15th in Russia's Belgorod region. The helicopter was reportedly hit in Russia's Belgorod Oblast during a Ukrainian drone operation, according to reports. Magyar claimed the drone successfully struck the Mi-28, causing the helicopter to crash to the ground. Russia is reportedly overhauling its battlefield strategy as it looks to counter Ukraine's increasingly frequent missile and long-range drone attacks. Fresh satellite imagery reportedly showed that Vladimir Putin has redeployed key air defense systems from Russia's northern regions to the Moscow area. Even Russian-controlled territories inside occupied Ukraine may now be receiving additional air defense missile systems as part of the wider military reshuffle. Nearly 24 S-300 and S-400 long-range air defense systems have reportedly been relocated from the Russian city of Severodvinsk. The air defense network had previously been deployed to protect Russia's strategic nuclear-powered submarine shipyard, according to reports. The reported redeployment has notably left 2 major military positions at Yagry Island and Mironov Hill largely abandoned. Yagry Island, once home to 6 S-300 surface-to-air missile systems, is now reportedly left almost completely exposed. Mironov Hill previously hosted 8 S-300 launcher vehicles, but satellite images from 2025 reportedly revealed a dramatic reduction. Experts believe Putin's latest strategy assumes northern Russia remains sufficiently distant from the battlefield to accept reduced air defense coverage. An expert said, and I quote, "Trying to fend off Ukraine's drone and missile strikes against strategic infrastructure deep inside Russian territory, Russia is burning through its interceptor missile stockpiles faster than the defense industry can replace them. This has apparently forced the Kremlin to reallocate many of its air defense assets from lower priority regions to higher priority areas, such as Moscow, St. Petersburg, and operational zones closer to the Ukrainian front, including Crimea. The systems shown on earlier satellite imagery may have been dispersed, undergoing maintenance or replaced by other air defense assets. The apparent disappearance of S-300 or S-400 launchers is probably the result of a temporary redeployment rather than a permanent withdrawal, and the assets may be returned to their original sites once operational requirements elsewhere have been met." End quote. Another defense expert argued that Russia is now prioritizing the protection of Moscow and St. Petersburg above all other regions. Meanwhile, Putin appeared to follow through on his promise of launching more powerful attacks against Ukraine with renewed intensity. Russia's defense ministry said its forces carried out a series of overnight missile and drone strikes across Ukraine on July 14th. Moscow said the attacks targeted Ukraine's defense industry facilities in Kyiv, as well as port infrastructure in the Odessa region. The defense ministry also claimed that Russian forces struck Ukrainian ports and military-use vessels supporting Kyiv's operations. Moscow said Russian aerospace forces destroyed an armed forces of Ukraine embankment crossing near Myaki in the Donetsk People's Republic. Russia said its artillery and assault units continued attacking Ukrainian defensive positions behind the city of Konstantinovka. The defense ministry claimed Russian troops destroyed Ukrainian manpower, military equipment, and fortified positions during the operation. Moscow also said Russian artillery units destroyed several Ukrainian drone command posts in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Russia further claimed its forces eliminated a Ukrainian stronghold while advancing in the Dobropoli direction. The defense ministry said Russian assault units captured and cleared another fortified Ukrainian defensive position in the Zaporizhia region. Separately, Russia said its Navy and the People's Liberation Army Navy successfully completed the Maritime Interaction 2026 joint exercise. Moscow added that Russian and Chinese warships have now moved on to conduct joint maritime patrols following the conclusion of the drills.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.